welcome everybody who joined us today. It's technically our official second meeting for the youth. We're gonna go ahead and start off by introducing everyone. We do have more people that joined us today who are new and some who were here last time. So I will go ahead and kick it off. My name is Stella Wimana.
Nitwa Israeli Kiogera.
Nitwa Edgar.
Nitwa Lionel Rufyiri.
Nitwa Nyongabo David.
Nitwa Irankunda Stella.
My name is Florence Niramheba.
My name is Nina.
Nitwa Deborah Wiman.
My name is Ella.
I'm Fine.
My name is Lightness Ahishakia.
My name is Claudette Sayumva.
Alrighty, thank you guys for introducing yourselves. I'm just gonna go ahead and do a quick rundown of the agenda of what we're gonna cover, and like I told you guys, we're gonna switch two of the main points. But we're gonna go ahead and talk about next the mission and the group's leadership, as well as the organization structure, and kind of what the future is gonna look like for the group as we move forward in terms of, again, leadership, where our focus is gonna be. After that, as we talked about last time, talk about our youth event that we want to put together on host for the community, kind of like what the committee is going to be like for that event, how we're going to go about it in terms of planning it. And then after that, we're going to go ahead and do closing. And in that conclusion, we're going to talk about participation as we move forward, time management, as well as respect, just like the general things that are going to be important as we move forward. Easy, do you want to go ahead and kick it off?
Yeah. Thanks, Stella. So, one of the big things about, us forming this group is for us to have a mission, to have a purpose, but then we need people who are going to lead the group forward. So I'll say this right now, me and Stella won't be running for any kind of positions. We won't be leading the group forward. What we are going to be focusing our time on is working with the elders of Dicobu to help to basically continue to promote the youth. So when it comes to fundraising and finances and trying to get financing for the events we want to have, they would like for us to be the kind of the representatives for the youth and work with them on that side, because they want two people who are going to be talking with them, communicating with them, and then whatever the youth want, they're going to share it with us. We're going to take it back to them and tell them this is what we want to do and this is how we're going to do it, and so that they always know and that we have that communication with them. So speaking on that term, Dicobu has asked for us to join them as a separate department, meaning we will call ourselves Dicobu Youth. I don't know how everybody, I guess I would want to maybe just go around the table and ask everybody what they think about calling ourselves Dicobu Youth and going under the Dicobu wing. I think it's very important to know that, again, we're just starting off, so we're going to need a lot of support. And they have already supported us so much in allowing us to use their space, helping with the tech and helping to promote us. So we really do need like partners in that, and they've offered to do that for us. When it comes to, again, us applying for grants and things like that, to get money to help in initiatives that we have or events we want to throw, they're going to help us with that as well. So really, if you think about it, it's going to benefit us long term, but it's also benefiting them because they can say we have a group, we have a youth group that's dedicated and we're partnering with to be able to continue to grow the diaspora. So that's all I'm going to say. I don't know if Stella wants to add something.
Kind of going off of what he said as well. Also benefit for our group as well is free resources and having advantage of having some of their employees as well as some like their coordinator, their event coordinator, to be able to help us with some of these events that we're going to do, and being able to connect us with some of the people they're already in touch with and some of the organizations they're in touch with. We're big thinkers. We have big visions that we want to do. And a lot of it does require a lot of money, but we had a meeting with them, and we talked with them, and they're like, you guys can be completely independent, kind of what he mentioned, where our leadership team will be making decisions. Hence why we're really emphasizing on the fact that we really need strong leadership, within the group to be able to make decisions, be able to lead, and be able to, last time we talked about opening a bank account for just the youth. That will happen as well. So that way all the money that we're raising will go directly to that bank account. It will not go to the overall Dicobu account. It will go directly to, we already talked about that as well. And it will be independent, separate department, just enjoying force in partnership with them and them sponsoring some of our stuff and using their resources, essentially at no charge. No charge. So
I guess just to make it quickly, does anybody have any opposition to that? And if you do, you can just share. Is everybody okay with that? Does anybody want to say something on it?
Yeah, please voice your opinions, because this is really important. Because again, it goes back to this. You guys are going to be leading. You guys are going to be running. We want to hear you guys. You know what I'm saying? So, open floor.
I had a question. Does that mean can we still get sponsored with other people as well?
Yes. 100%, because that's how we get more money. So.
To be honest, this is really great, and I just feel like, everything with a teamwork is better, and I just feel like it's not only that, it's also a lot of benefit from it, especially when we use this praise, for our own behalf. And I just feel like as who is going to be our president, and just really understand that this is going to be our our youth group, and also like our how can I say, like how we're gonna be calling our group as Dicobu Youth Group, and if you all can agree with that name, that's also fine. I just feel like if anybody feels like we could call this as different name, we can also speak on that part. But for me, I just feel like it's great to just go ahead and call this as a Dicobu, youth, and that's it.
Dicobu was the mission of Dicobu. Then we can, because once we know Dicobu the mission, we can willing to be Dicobu youth. I don't know if you get that part. Oh, and also I wasn't here on preview meeting. I guess you guys talk about it, but I wasn't here, so just want to have a little bit preview of what happened. Yeah, no, not exactly what happened, but the mission of Dicobu. Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, no, that's a very good question. So even if you look at your and actually, that's a huge part why a lot of times when people host these events, why they have people wear these is because they want people to know kind of like where their focus is. So a huge part, and it honestly kind of goes in hand, kind of like the mission we proposed last week for the youth. So a huge part is development initiatives and cooperations of Burundians in the U.S. Of course, that also extends to back home, because they do projects back home, obviously, to develop our country and people. And a huge part of that, if you really think the big picture of this, you can't really fulfill this mission without the youth. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to have the youth in order to continue to develop and to continue to carry whatever you're developing. And then I feel like a lot of the youth, and that's kind of part of why I was like, you know what, we really do need a youth group, is initiatives. I feel like the youth have a lot of ideas, not just for here, but also like projects that we as youth, as a collective, can work together to go back home and do together outside of just the adults, right? Have something of our own. So that's kind of like a big picture of what they're doing. Really spreading the message of our Burundian youth, building the communities, and then of course taking projects back home to try to uplift our people. And then I believe, to recap the second part, I believe, are kind of like the mission we proposed last time. It was and it's also on the Instagram page that was created. So essentially, we want to be able to engage the community, particularly the youth, the young adults. Want to promote the Burundian culture and who we are, because we have a lot of successful Burundians here, and we want to tell our stories long term, right? Be able to, because I feel like we're so underrepresented and not really, how do I say this, politically correct?
Considered?
Yeah, we're not really considered. I feel like a lot of times when people, we're not relevant. Does that make sense? Because I was trying to find the politically correct way to say it. We're not considered relevant. A lot of people, when talk about Africans and Africans who are succeeding out there, imani mbabarire ntiwumva ngo Barundi.
Nigerian.
You know what I'm saying? We need to be on that map. We need to be at that level, because we have a lot of youth who are starting businesses, a lot of youth who are independent, a lot of youth who are killing it in the corporate game. But you don't hear them. And that's our job, to promote ourselves. If we don't promote ourselves first, who will? That's and then of course inspire. I feel like kind of going back in hand with promoting ourselves, it's a huge deal that us as youth are inspiring each other, but also inspiring the next generation. And, we have, elders who are leading the community, but I also, me personally, and I easily would agree, I think on some conversations we have had, we have some amazing, amazing people in the Burundian community who have leadership skills, business skills, and we need those people to be put up front to inspire others. And then, of course, merging all of that, being able to come up with projects and initiatives, both here and hopefully back home, to inspire those,
Of Dicobu, it's actually good.
That's going to be my question.
Right, and then it wouldn't make sense if we have totally different missions. We can be based on these missions and then add the youth missions. But if someone say Dicobu youth, the first thing is gonna go in the mind is Dicobu. Yeah, period. It's like saying at church youth, the first things comes is the church. So I feel like we should take this mission as a part of Dicobu, and then we can add those engagement community and then promote ourselves. But addition of these, that's what I was thinking.
He stole my point. Because my next question, I was going to ask the group, does anybody, what's the word I'm looking for? I guess oppose to the main overall vision and the what they focus on in terms of development, corporations, and initiatives? Just as an open question. And right now, I know, at least on their part right now, I know they're working in terms of expanding their leadership in the different areas. And I know they already have a couple initiatives, like going back to school initiatives for the kids, which I think that'll be a fun initiative for us to take under our wing. But as well, they did, I think, was it last year, where they kind of went, did another initiative, like where I think they did like feeding people and whatever. And then in terms of here, I know one of the things they have started is the, what is it called? Is it commissioner? Yeah, like Chamber of Commerce. They have like big projects that they do on their own, but of course they're more adult focused and not necessarily things that we would be interested in terms of, I mean, how many of us sitting here will be interested in Chamber of Commerce? It's kind of like way above where we're at in life per se. But in terms of that, they are very big on, for example, I don't know if you guys are aware, like the Americans, the Hispanic community, and I believe maybe Nigerian too, I believe, they have had Chamber of Commerce for years, and some of them for hundreds of years, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but that's why even if you go to, for example, you guys are all familiar with ASU. If you guys are involved in a lot of that, like they have different branches of the different Hispanic clubs, and a lot of those too, they have Chamber of Commerce overall to support that community in terms of financial. The Burundian community has never had that. And that's a huge deal. If you know what Chambers of Commerce does overall, it comes back to kind of like developing your community, but also from a financial standpoint. So they do more of the bigger picture stuff that we normally wouldn't think of. Hence why it's important for us to focus on initiatives that we care about as young adults, and doing projects that we care about, because there are projects that they're not going to do. They still matter, but it's just not something that I wouldn't say not think of, but they just not of their interest. If that makes sense. And I want to echo what he said too. It really also comes down to the work we do, right? That's why it's so important that we push ourselves and we're consistent. Because at the end of the day, it's our work that's going to speak for ourselves.
We really need that support. We need that partnership and support from them, because it's also going to help just to continue to elevate Burundi in general. Dicobu is one that's throughout the U.S. You know what I mean? And to be the youth group for them, that elevates us to a whole nother level.
We can accomplish more united than we can apart, right? It's like there's things that we're going to be great at, but there's going to be things that they're better at. All right, guys, I just want to go ahead and thank all of you guys for attending. I feel like we made a lot of progress on the things we talked about in the last meeting, as well in terms of how we want to move forward, and how we want to move in terms of getting to know each other, events, and what we have to look forward to. And as we move forward, we'll go ahead and improve. But to begin, as we all have agreed, we'll go ahead and do a social event for all members and inquiring minds to come and have fun, get to know each other, and really build a network where we can know who to reach out to within the community, within the group, and of course be able to work on projects, initiatives together. In terms of when the get together will happen, that it is to be determined. And then in terms of the group that is going to be heading it, putting it together, that as well will be announced later as we're still putting those pieces together. But for sure, a fun social night will be happening soon, for sure. With that being said, I want to go ahead and thank everyone. Oh, another thing I want to go ahead and point out is we all have said we'll go ahead and continue on the path of, partnering up with the overall group of Dicobu and taking, being under their wing as a separate independent department, representing the youths and doing our initiatives hands in hands with them. With that being said, you guys, thank you so much for being here with us and for sharing your thoughts, as it is important. And as I mentioned in the last meeting, you guys are the group, and you guys, your thoughts and your opinions matter. Hence why everything that was presented today was changed based on how you guys feel. So I just want to thank you all. Until next time, this is the Burundian Youth Team here. So we look forward to growing.